The fact that Thames Water, it seems, is running out of money. Of course, they are privately owned by multiple shareholders, and for a whole bunch of reasons, they are running out of money and have now gone to shareholders to say, we need some money in order to basically right our infrastructure problems. So famously, of course, these water companies lose, is it about a third of all the water they produce that comes through leaks and so on? Of course, the big debate is the fact that a lot of these bosses are on massive salaries and bonus packages, 2, 3, 4, 5 million pounds. And I think most of the media this morning is focused on the fat cats and how, clearly they're not doing their jobs despite that big pay packet. And it's actually by the left, I have to say, been articulated that this is a reason that we shouldn't privatise anything, that we should basically nationalise everything. Now, some of us are old enough, Dawn, to remember, she and I, nationalisation back in the 70s and 80s. It was an absolute disaster, whether that was utilities, the train companies and so on. This is not a problem of privatisation. It is a problem of the way these companies have been run, the fact that the government has not made them invest in infrastructure, but also, surely, a failure of Ofwat. There's a regulator here that clearly...
What have they been doing?
Well, clearly is toothless. That is the problem. I think all eyes should be on Ofwat for the fact that they've allowed this farce to continue for so long.
But it's so interesting because part of their remit as regulators was to protect the shareholders' dividends. That was part of their remit, which just seems utterly bizarre. But I think it is an argument against privatisation, because how can you privatise an industry which has no competition? I think it was always going to be doomed to fail, and put it in the hands of foreign ownership, and it's just completely fallen into profiteering.
So would you be for nationalisation, Amy?
Of the water industry, yes, and I think I'm with the vast majority. I think it's about 70% of people at the moment would support nationalising water. Interestingly, I'm in agreement today with Jacob Rees-Mogg, who said, just let it fall into administration. Let's see what happens with that. But when you talk about the fat cat bosses, I actually don't agree that it should be anything to do with them, because quite a few of the people who are running Thames Water have only just started. And that is, imagine being tasked with the company as it is right now. You need to remunerate bosses for what they're doing, and it's no easy feat, obviously, to take on a task like Thames Water at the moment. So I think you do need to...
I'm sorry, I've got no sympathy for these water companies. I'll say again, I say it week in, week out. I live by the coast. The amount of times I've gone down there to swim in the sea with my young kids and they're pumping raw sewage into the water, having had years...
But again, that's a failure of the regulator.
It is
a failure of the regulator.
Imagine being pulled in and said, right, boss that, sort out that literal... whatever's in the river. That's what I'm saying. So some of these people that work there are quite new. So they've been brought in to sort out the mess, and I think
they're getting paid enough. These people are on a high six-figure salary. I have no sympathy for them.
They earned that salary. I don't think...
But sorry, the difference when it comes to the privatisation debate is if it's a matter of national infrastructure, so if it's power, water, telephone and so on, of course there has to be some government hands on that particular company, that particular sector and industry to ensure that it runs not just for shareholders, but actually for the benefit of the user. This is not just an ordinary company. This is not a Tesco or an HSBC. This is a water company, and yes, it's beholden to its shareholders, but there has to be regulation in place. And indeed, there is regulation in place, but my point is, Ofwat are sitting on their hands.
Yes, absolutely. Now, obviously, Thames Water aren't here to defend themselves, but they have given us a statement saying, we'd like to reassure our customers that despite this announcement, it is business as usual for Thames Water. Our 8,000 staff remain committed to working with our partners in the supply chain to provide services for our benefit of our customers, communities and the environment.
Yeah, I've had enough of the lot. I've had enough of the railways, I've had enough of the water companies. Nothing works. Prices go up, nothing works, service goes down, and it's a disgrace. So if that means renationalising it all, do it.
But then it'll be worse, Ben, sorry, it will be worse if it's nationalised, because it was 30, 40 years ago, because there was no accountability whatsoever. Nationalisation is not the answer.
And 2 words, post office.
Yeah.
OK, right.